right here on the Splash Live to talk about some of those steps. We have West Bloomfield Deputy Chief Dale Young. Thank you for being here, Deputy Chief Dale Young. And first and foremost, let's talk about National Vehicle Theft Protection Month. What are the main goals of this awareness campaign?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me on the show. And to answer that question, it is prevention. That's the primary goal. And some of the tips that were put out yesterday are stuff that we'd like to echo for the community that's watching. And some of those steps are things like parking in a well-lit area, that make sure that if you have your valuables stored in your car, that you are keeping them out of sight.
Right.
Some of the suggestions are putting them in your glove box, and to consider activating a anti-theft device. And if you don't have one and you do have the means, is contacting a manufacturer to put that in.
Yeah, there you go. Well said. Now, these things you would think common sense, common knowledge, but sometimes, even when we're in a rush, we're just moving, we may forget some things. Just throw a bag with a laptop just right there on the seat. Sometimes even just throw the laptop or a cell phone right there open in the seat. Nowadays, with the heat, we might leave the windows down, that type of thing. So things just to be aware of, make it a little bit harder. Now, we know we just went over the statistics nationally. Over 1 million vehicle thefts reported in 2023. Are there any local statistics that you have specific to the West Bloomfield area you can share with us?
Yes, and thankfully, they're much lower than that. So I can tell you that from January 1st of this year to today, we've experienced 10 of them. So while that's not zero, I am encouraged that it's not a lot.
Yes, so year to date, we're talking about 10 motor vehicle thefts reported in the greater West Bloomfield area. Are there any, and join us right here on the Splash Live, by the way, Deputy Chief for West Bloomfield Police Department, Dale Young. Let's get into some of the common methods that thieves use to steal vehicles. Can you share those with us?
Sure. The most common will be, unfortunately, unlocked doors. Some of the more sophisticated thefts happen when they have specialized key fobs. And then, sometimes it happens where maybe a window is broken out.
So that just brought me to another great idea, right? So when you are looking at your vehicle, if it's been broken into, not necessarily stolen, but broken into, how should someone approach that? You see the glass falling or it's all on the ground and in your car. Is it safe to just immediately get in, drive off, whatever the case? Do we immediately call the police? Do we search the perimeter, see if the person's still around? How should we do that from your perspective?
Well, from my perspective, I think the most prudent thing to do is to call the police. We'll come out, make sure that we have a chance to investigate what we can. And if there's evidence to be collected, maybe there's fingerprints, maybe there's blood that's left behind, especially if they busted out a window. Those are things that we can collect and analyze at a later date.
Okay, thank you. And like, once again, seems like common knowledge, but it's just good to know. Some people are in a total state of shock immediately when this type of thing tends to happen. So it's good to know that we have our resources available. Deputy Chief for West Bloomfield Police Department, Dale Young, joining us right here on the Splash Live, talking about motor vehicle theft in the United States and specifically right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Are there any particular types of vehicles, makes and models that seem to be on the radar more, or any locations in West Bloomfield specifically that are more vulnerable?
Well, starting with locations, unfortunately, there's not any particular location. This is unfortunately a West Bloomfield-wide issue. In terms of the types of vehicles that are taken, it varies. A lot of times it's related to the opportunity that presents itself for these individuals.
Right. Yeah, I understand this case by case, and it may not be anything in particular. I know at one point there were a specific make and model that thefts were targeting that was a lot easier, but it doesn't seem to be the case specifically here in our area. But overall, like Deputy Chief Dale Young is saying, make sure you are doing your due diligence, cross your T's, dot your I's before you leave your vehicle. Are there any initiatives, programs currently being thought of or underway, developed by the West Bloomfield Police Department for preventing motor vehicle theft?
Well, just what we're doing here is educating the public. We also put notices on our Facebook So if the public is not aware of it, we are on Facebook, and I encourage you to follow us. And then the other thing is that we share intelligence information with area agencies around us, so that as we learn things, we pass this on to the public, and we also make sure that our officers are aware of what's happening.
Great information. Don't want to hold you up too much longer, Deputy Chief Dale Young. Appreciate your time. Lastly, anything that the community can do as a whole to get involved in helping prevent motor vehicle thefts and support law enforcement?
Well, I will say that if neighbors see something that looks unusual, is to give us a call. We'll come out. It's never a bother, and we will determine what's going on. I also would highly recommend that people follow some of the tips that we outlined today, so that it makes it that much harder for individuals to steal vehicles.
Yeah, well said. If you see something, say something. Don't just sit by, especially if it looks suspicious. Thank you for that information once again. Deputy Chief for West Bloomfield Police Department, Dale Young, we appreciate your time so much, sir.
Have a good day.